After Sony's amazing Paris Games Week press conference, we have a clearer picture of what the PS4's lineup is gonna be like in 2018, and in this video, we want to take a look at the top 15 amazing upcoming exclusives coming to the PlayStation 4. If you're a PlayStation 4 owner, there are some incredible games coming your way, so let's get right into this. Number 15, Vane. Vane is an atmospheric adventure game about unraveling the secrets of an unknown island, finding your place in it, and pulling at the threads of the world to make it change. The story is told through the island. The shifting sands glimmer with meaning and ancient ruins resonate with power, but a threat billows and looms in the distance. This is a very cool smaller title that not a lot of people are talking about, but you definitely want to keep your eyes on Vane. Number 14, Earth Defense Force Iron Rain. Earth Defense Force Iron Rain is the latest in the long-running Earth Defense Force franchise, which hasn't been the biggest franchise in the world, but those that have played it know how much fun they are. Earth Defense Force Iron Rain is a lot of the same from the Earth Defense Force, but it does feature a lot of gameplay refinements and a more serious tone. What will be retained is the chaotic and exhilarating gameplay that Earth Defense Force has been known for. If you're a fan of action-packed third-person shooters, Earth Defense Force Iron Rain has to be on your radar. It'll be coming sometime in 2018.
We're beyond the breaking point. But it's still too soon to despair. If you have a weapon, fight alongside us. As long as we're here, hope remains.
Number 13, Fist of the North Star. Yes, we can talk about all of the memes in regards to Fist of the North Star, but the new PS4 title looks really good. It's coming from the developers of Yakuza, and if you've played the Yakuza games, you know how great those titles are, so Fist of the North Star has a lot of potential to be something really good. It does have your crazy brawling, but it's just not a mindless brawling game that some of the other titles have been. It's got unique gameplay and side content to keep the experience fresh, so hopefully Fist of the North Star turns out well. The license definitely deserves a quality game.
Shaka shaka shaka. Dozo. Let's go. Hokuto, 百裂拳。お前はもう死んでいる。
Number 12, Guacamelee 2. This is a recent announcement coming from PlayStation's Paris Games Week, and while Guacamelee wasn't the biggest game in the world, the 2D Metroidvania-style action platformer and brawler was a great game with a lot of charm. You played as a luchador named Juan and explore an open, non-linear world to complete the central story objectives. Now with Guacamelee 2, it looks as fun and stylish as ever. The title is set to come sometime in 2018. Number 11, Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. Dissidia Final Fantasy was a great set of games on the PSP. We had the first title, and then we also had Duodecim, and both games were really good, and now we have a game that's being made for the PlayStation 4. Dissidia Final Fantasy NT was already released on arcades in Japan, but this is the first console release, and it's developed by Tecmo Koei. Obviously, visually, it's a gigantic leap forward over the PSP predecessors, and it does feature more of a team-based battle system, and hopefully it has a solid single-player component as well, because if you played the original Dissidia games on the PSP, they had quality single-player components. Hopefully that remains the same in Dissidia Final Fantasy NT when it comes on January 30th.
each possessing unique abilities and one of 4 battle types. The combination of 3 versus 3 teams you can create is practically endless. This variety gives Dissidia Final Fantasy NT a depth that rivals any multiplayer arena fighting game. Combine this with unparalleled visuals, strategic and action-packed gameplay, and you and your team will have all the armory you need to wage an epic battle and reign triumphant.
Number 10, Concrete Genie. Concrete Genie was another announcement coming off PlayStation's Paris Games Week, and it was one of the most interesting and exciting games coming off the conference. It's explained as a painting puzzle game with amazing visuals and a coming-of-age story. You play as a bullied teenager named Ash who escapes his troubles by painting spectacular living landscapes and mischievous creatures throughout his abandoned hometown of Denska. As he masters the paint, he discovers it can purify Denska's polluted walls. It's a very stylish game, and it comes from the developers Pixel, who did 2014's Entwine title, which was also a very good game. Concrete Genie is set to come sometime in 2018. Number 9, Yakuza 6: The Song of Life. For a long time, the Yakuza games weren't making a big impact over here in the States, and it was hard to see why. The games were very good, and it looks like the series is finally turning around in the West as Sega is starting to bring more and more titles over here. We saw Yakuza 0 earlier this year, we saw Yakuza Kiwami back in August, and now next year we'll have Yakuza 6: The Song of Life, which is the latest entry in the main line of games. You play as Kazuma Kiryu once again and expect another mature story. If you're a fan of the Yakuza games, this will be right up your alley. It'll be another great open world action game. And if you've yet to play the Yakuza games, definitely give Yakuza 0 a look. That's an origin story, a prequel to the Yakuza franchise, and it's not too big of a deal if you jump in at any point. But Yakuza 0 was a fantastic game, so you should definitely check that out, and then you'll see why so many are excited for Yakuza 6. Yakuza 6 comes on March 20th. Number 8, Shadow of the Colossus Remake. Shadow of the Colossus is one of the most iconic games of all time. Developed by Team Ico, it is arguably their best game, and considering they also did Ico, another tremendous game, that's saying a lot. And even to this day, when you look at Shadow of the Colossus, visually it looks amazing, but now it's coming to the PlayStation 4 in the form of an ultra high definition remake, and one of the main issues with Shadow of the Colossus on the PS2 was on the technical side. The frame rate wasn't all too great, but the shackles should come off the game when it comes to the PlayStation 4. If you haven't played Shadow of the Colossus, this will be the perfect way to do so. And if you've already played the game, well, then you know how great it is, and you're probably gonna pick up the game anyway, because to be able to revisit the game in ultra high definition, that's amazing in its own right. Shadow of the Colossus will be coming to the PlayStation 4 early 2018. 7, Days Gone. Days Gone is coming to you from the guys over at Sony Bend Studio, who are one of the more underrated studios that Sony has. When you think of Sony, you usually think of Guerrilla Games, Naughty Dog, but Sony Bend should be right up there with them. They created the great Siphon Filter games, and they also created games such as Uncharted Golden Abyss and Resistance Retribution, which were great portable titles. Their latest game is a AAA blockbuster title in Days Gone, an open-world zombie survival game. Nothing incredibly unique in premise, think something like Dead Rising, except with a lot more technical prowess and what looks to be a more narrative-driven focus. Sony Bend has done a great job with all of their games, it's just that a lot of gamers have missed out on some of their titles. Well, Days Gone is a big blockbuster title, and this should really put them on the map.
There's an effort of the other Marauders to get this guy to shut up, and he won't.
Yeah, and so in the first demo, Deacon's heading on down the trail, and you can hear that happening behind him.
Right.
And this time we're showing what happened. So, you know, he's watching everybody react to this poor guy trapped in the, you know, in that bear trap, and she just is like, shut up, shut up, shut up, and then just loses it and shoots the guy.
Right, right.
And of course, in the meantime, Deacon, you know, is crafting a Molotov and just takes them all out.
Right. Oh, boy, that's good. Ow. Ow.
So, yeah, so again, it's like in the
Number 6, Detroit Become Human. Detroit Become Human is the latest game from Quantic Dream, a studio that creates games that are very divisive. Some people love them, other people's not so much. I think everyone would agree in saying that Heavy Rain was a tremendous game, but then you had titles such as Beyond Two Souls, which wasn't up everyone's alley. Now we have their latest game, which is Detroit Become Human, a futuristic game set around 3 androids. It'll be of similar playstyle where you'll have to make a lot of different decisions, and the story's gonna continue no matter what. If a character dies, the story's still gonna continue on, and you will have to find a conclusive ending. These games lend themselves to have a lot of replay value because you can go back in, make different choices, you get the idea. Detroit Become Human is set to release sometime in 2018.
You're coming with me. That's enough! I want you to leave Alice alone.
She's mine. I do what I want with her!
Number 5, Final Fantasy VII Remake. I can go on and on about the Final Fantasy VII Remake, how everyone has wanted the game since 2005, ever since Sony almost idiotically decided to show a tech demo of a hypothetical Final Fantasy VII running on the PlayStation 3. But nonetheless, 10 years after that, we finally got an announcement that a Final Fantasy VII Remake was coming, and it has looked incredible from the little footage we've seen thus far. We saw the reveal trailer at E3 of 2015, and that left our jaws on the floor, and then we saw a little bit of gameplay at that year's PlayStation Experience conference, but since then, information about the game has been very dry. We do know that the games are expected to release in episodic format, and while that is gonna annoy a lot of gamers, maybe that'll make the release timetable a little bit quicker, and with Square Enix and how long it takes them to put out a lot of their games, maybe that's for the best. Right now, we do know they are focused on Kingdom Hearts 3, but hopefully we can see Episode 1 of the Final Fantasy VII Remake sometime at the end of 2018. Fingers crossed.
Get back here! Okay, Riku, let's move.
Number 4, God of War. God of War has been one of the staple franchises to PlayStation for the last 15 years. Sony Santa Monica have done a great job with the games, although with God of War Ascension, it was starting to get a bit stale. It was a little bit redundant, but now with the new God of War game, dubbed just God of War, seems to be a very nice change of pace for the franchise. Gone is the world of Greek mythology, and now we're in the world of Norse mythology. Kratos is far older, seemingly a lot wiser, and now he has a son to look after as well. It's a very nice change of pace from your typical bloodthirsty Kratos, and now into a more father figure role for Kratos. It seems slower and more atmospheric. A lot of gamers have drawn comparisons to The Last of Us, and that's a very interesting path for God of War to take. Hopefully this new entry does reignite the franchise, although they've still been selling really well, so it's not like the series is doom and gloom, and this game is shaping up incredibly. Check it out in 2018.
Then do not drop your guard. Come.
Take that!
Get back!
Nice! See ya! Above us! Wow! Amazing!
Follow me.
Number 3, Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is the latest game from Sucker Punch, and if you don't know who Sucker Punch are and you own a PlayStation 4, then you've got a problem. They've created some of the best games on PlayStation, including Sly Cooper, as well as the fantastic Infamous franchise, but their new title, Ghost of Tsushima, is once again a very interesting game and a change of pace from their previous titles. It's an open-world samurai action RPG set in feudal Japan, and the trailer we saw looks great. Titles such as Nioh have done the feudal Japan setting justice, but Ghost of Tsushima is a little bit different in that it's an open-world action RPG, and while we still don't know much about the game, given who's working on the game, and given the premise, you can expect Ghost of Tsushima to be something special. Hopefully it comes in 2018.
Wish to burn? So I'll ask you once again, Samurai. Do you surrender?
Number 2, Spider-Man. For a long time, gamers have wanted a Spider-Man game that really does the license justice, similar to what Batman Arkham did for Batman, and Spider-Man looks to be that title. It's developed by Insomniac, who are one of the best studios on the planet. They worked on titles such as Resistance and the Ratchet & Clank franchise, and so far what we've seen of Spider-Man has looked absolutely spectacular. Visually, it looks incredible. The open world New York looks awesome to explore, and it looks to really be doing Spider-Man justice. From what I've seen, there's a little bit too many quick time events, but I doubt that'll be a major issue. That's just me nitpicking. Overall, the game looks amazing, and this should be the Spider-Man game we've wanted for many years now. It's set to release sometime in 2018.
Got what you came for. You don't need to kill us too.
Fisk's territory is ours now.
Not today.
Spider-Man! Tell the boss is here!
And finally, number 1, The Last of Us Part 2. Sony has a lot of incredible in-house studios, but when you talk to the majority of PlayStation gamers, they will say that Naughty Dog is the best one. Their games are just incredible, from Uncharted, Jak and Daxter, and of course, the first Last of Us title. Many would consider The Last of Us to be the best game that Naughty Dog has ever put out, and I really can't disagree with that. That game was amazing, from its pacing, gameplay, storytelling, character development, world building. I can go on and on about how incredible that game is, and now we have this sequel, The Last of Us Part 2. It looks like Ellie's gonna be taking center stage in this title, which may put off some people. I mean, Joel was a great character, but I fully expect Joel to be a big part in The Last of Us Part 2 as well. And with how the first game ended, it'll be really interesting to see how they follow up on it in The Last of Us Part 2. A 2018 release may be pushing it, but Naughty Dog hasn't released a game since Uncharted 4 back in early 2016, so a 2018 release isn't completely off the table. Hopefully we see it by the end of next year.
Watch your backs.
So that wraps up 15 amazing PS4 exclusives coming in 2018. What do you think? There are so many incredible games coming to the PlayStation 4 in 2018, and even if a few of these titles get delayed into 2019, the lineup is so stacked that you are surefire getting an incredible year if you own a PlayStation 4. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching and goodbye.